This is Jeremy Wentworth-Stanley. I'm the fellow who has a hyphen in my name. The hyphen is silent, but I am anything but that. This is a mini-podcast, Jeremy Wentworth-Stanley. I'm the proprietor of Respectonomics. Respectonomics' aspiration is to restore the dignity of the human being. We're going to be talking today about the ability to reflect, and the title to this message is Our GPS of Reflection. Our, because it belongs to us, and GPS, because that's the tool we're going to be using when we want to see where we're going. Global positioning system, technically speaking, and reflection is what we are aiming to embrace and to bring further into our lives. We, in fact, reflect every day. We do it 3 or 4 times, maybe more often, depending. But think of the mirrors in your car, think of the mirrors in your house, think of the mirrors at your office. Each mirror has a different function. It is very personal. We use a mirror to see whether our hair is in good place, whether we've got some kind of debris on our face. We use it to see if we are dressed appropriately and our ties are in the right place. One of the things about this kind of reflecting, though, is, remember, it's very personal. It's out in a perspective that matters to you, meaning, in other words, you're looking at a full-length mirror or a handheld mirror, depending on what you're trying to assess. And not only that, you and I are the only ones who look into the mirror at the time. It is unlikely that someone's going to be leaning over your shoulder and looking into the mirror at the same time. It is a personal experience. It's designed to determine detail, and it is also designed to be corrective. If you see, for example, that you've got, as I have done, a lump of donut on my front tooth, it's a good idea to remove it, so I can take responsible action in terms of my reflection as well. When we reflect, though, and we do it several times a day, it's very physical. What we want to talk about is the internal nature of our humanity. And how do we reflect there? You hear the expression, well, we can reflect on it, and we can. But in order to reflect, we need 2 or 3 aids or tools, weapons, in order to be able to do it. The first one is the mirror, and the second one is the light, and the third one is, of course, to be looking. The first one I want to talk about is the mirror, because if I stand in front of a mirror, that produces the reflection and allows me to see what I need to adjust. And the same with my internal thoughts, my internal reminiscences, my internal expectations. When we reflect, there are 3 phases to our reflection. There's the art of retrospection, which is, of course, looking back. There's the look of inspection, which is looking at ourselves as we are. And then there's prospection, when we look around us. We look at what's going on in the world that might affect us or will affect us as we would expect in the future. So it does 3 things, reflection: the past, the present, and the future. But we need a mirror. And the mirror that exists within each one of us is, in fact, our soul. The soul is one's ultimate mirror. It is where one can feel the vibrations of, the vibrations of what we're doing right, the vibrations of where we want to do things differently. But it is there that we find the mirror that discloses to us, and quite often non-judgmentally, but just reveals to us the truth about what we're thinking, who we are, what we're intending to be doing, what our will is, what our purpose is. So the soul is extremely important, and from that come 2 things. If the soul is going to be my mirror, then my soul needs to be fed. It needs nutrients. We are well aware that one of the most important nutrients to one's soul is one's faith. So in other words, in order to be able to be an effective reflector or self-reflector, then the first thing one needs to do is to have a faith that we can then feed our soul with. That is almost another way of saying that the soul needs energy. because no amount of mirror and no amount of looking will work unless there's sufficient light. So we look at the concept of faith as being one that gives us the light. We use the soul as the mirror. And it is extremely personal. No one else can see my soul. Only I can. Only you can see yours. And it's a very useful place to go to find out this, like a reservoir, to find out what in fact is the truth of our feelings. It is a magnificent GPS, our soul. As a matter of fact, I've come to the conclusion that GPS stands for Guiding, Providing Soul. Let's all put our GPS in full gear, raise the antenna, and enjoy the faith and the prosperity that comes from feeding the soul and being able to look inwardly in a way that is non-judgmental and very helpful to reaching our goals and our aspirations. Thank you.